everybody, this is the key video for the meiosis practice summative. So I went through and I also underlined words in here that are going to be important for you to know and to be able to explain on the summative. So make sure you go back and look at that vocab formative we took a couple weeks ago if you're struggling with vocab. So this first model here is showing crossing over. It happens during prophase 1 of meiosis. Simply put, your two homologous chromosomes, one from mom, one comes from dad. They switch either part of their arms or their legs, so that after meiosis, when each one of these chromatids goes into a separate gamete, each one of those gametes are non-identical. So it results in 4 haploid cells, 4 gametes that are non-identical. They're all a little bit different. This one is showing this one is showing independent assortment. So this is where homologous chromosomes, how they line up in the middle of the cell during metaphase, is completely random. But once these cells split and these chromosomes go over here, these go over here, each one of these resulting gametes will have a different combination of chromosomes. And this is the one as well. This one is the one that results in over 8 million different combinations of chromosomes in humans, and this will actually happen. I don't know why I put metaphase here. This should be metaphase. This happens in metaphase of meiosis. This is showing non-disjunction. So again, this is where chromosomes don't separate correctly during either anaphase 1 or anaphase 2 of meiosis 1 or meiosis 2. And because the chromosomes don't separate correctly, the resulting gametes are either missing chromosomes or have an extra chromosome. And then when those haploid gametes combine with another gamete, the resulting diploid cells have extra chromosomes or missing chromosomes. So this results in an abnormal distribution of chromosomes, which usually lead to either miscarriages or developmental abnormalities in the offspring. And then this last graph here is showing how an environmental factor, which in this case is the Zika virus, can lead to additional variation. So this could occur either during meiosis if the person is exposed to the environmental factor and it affects their gametes as their gametes are developing, or it could happen after fertilization. So after the sperm and the egg conjoin to make the zygote, resulting in a pregnancy, then this factor can also affect the baby after fertilization. So know that mutations can lead to several different abnormalities. So we talked about a few. You guys watched the video about thalidomide. We talked about nuclear radiation. We talked about Agent Orange. And then this is another example. The one on the summative, just make sure that when I ask you to show me how it leads to genetic variation, that you're using quantitative data. So for example, here we see the pregnant women with this disease and then infants with microcephaly. So I might say something like, well, when the number of Zika virus cases peaked with pregnant women, about 9 months later, the number of infants with microcephaly also peaked. But just make sure you use specific quantitative data. So I might say like at the beginning of 2016, the number of cases were about 1,800, and then about 9 months later, they peaked week 30 at about 1,800. So these two data points correlate with one another. Then down here, these are just some key terms that I might ask you to use on the summative, so make sure that you understand the definition of these and that you're able to use them correctly in a sentence, because I'm going to ask you to underline them in your CER. So while you guys are studying this weekend, if you have questions, don't hesitate to email me.